Powered by Riverside.
Welcome back to the Movement for Life podcast. My name is Kolby Krystofik, your host, and in today's episode, we talk about wearables, the best fitness tracker that you should be wearing, or should you be wearing one at all. Before we get into the episode, I want to start out with ways that I moved in this past week, and then we'll get into what we have going on for this week. This past week, been almost 40 hours a week at the beach, which has been a lot of working. So a lot of what I did this last week was surfing and beach workouts. A lot of sand running, between 2 and 4 miles of sand running with intermixed push-ups, sit-ups, squats. Found some weights at the beach as well, which was kind of fun to be able to do and switch up from typical CrossFit, and been CrossFitting maybe 1 to 2 times each week. The CrossFitting has definitely, I feel like it is way different than the sand workouts that I've been doing. So I'm feeling like very gassed when I do my CrossFit workouts, which is fine. The seasons are different. It feels great to be outside. It feels great to be serving the public as an ocean lifeguard. The other thing that happened this last week was my birthday. My birthday was on July 5th, and I didn't do a lot of exercise on that day, but I did eat some donuts because balance. One of my favorite foods, I don't want a cake, but one of my favorite foods to eat, especially for a dessert or a treat, is a donut. And I got a donut tower for my birthday, which was incredible. I loved it. It was amazing. Let's hear some ways that you guys moved in the past week. The entire point of this podcast is to help you guys keep on moving throughout your life, whether you're 10 to 12 years old, just figuring out what this whole thing is, or if you're in your 60s, like, hey, 60s and 70s, how do we keep you moving and keeping you mentally sharp for all of your life? So this week, I've got some things to talk about. We are going to talk about fitness trackers. I found a really cool website on wired.com that talks through a bunch of different fitness wearables, and we're going to kind of talk through, like, what is a wearable? Should you be wearing a wearable? Should you not be wearing a wearable? Is it useful? Is it helpful? What's the point of them? What's the goal? And so I'll start with my little overview before we talk about a bunch of different kinds. In my opinion, the wearables can kind of double as two things. The first thing is a wearable can be used as a watch, right? If you've ever worn a watch on your wrist before, it's a great way. Like, now that we have cell phones, right? It's a little bit less of um, a necessity to be wearing a watch, because you can always be looking at your iPhone or your mobile device for time. But there was a long time that wearing a watch was something that it kind of was a no-brainer. Everybody wore a watch to tell time. So that's one half of a wearable. Is if you're already going to wear a watch, you could wear a watch that gives you more data than just time. What is that other data? That other data could be health and fitness data. Health and fitness data includes a lot of different things. It includes sleep data, potentially includes stress data, exercise data, recovery data, potentially a bunch of other things as well. That's the stuff that we're going to talk about with these different wearables. What does different wearables track? How good are they at tracking? How expensive are they? A whole slew of things. So let's get into it and see what some good wearables are. At the end of the day today, I might make a general recommendation on whether or not I think you should have a wearable if you're in one of three categories. So the first one that is up on this list is I'm going to include this in the show notes. It's wired.com/gallery/best-fitness-tracker/. The best all-around one that they say is the Fitbit Charge 6. Stiff competition, most notably the Apple Watch. The Fitbit is one of the original and first wearable devices. It's got a much more redesigned app as of recently, and the Fitbit will also track a bunch of health metrics, and it will also have time on it as well. The great thing about the Fitbit is I've got things that it measures, which is kind of cool. So fitness wise, you can get your heart rate on gym equipment. So if you're at a Globo gym and they have treadmills or bikes or rowers, you can likely connect your heart rate from your Fitbit to display directly on your device. You have a readiness score. You have 40 different exercise modes to choose from. You have heart rate tracking. You have active minutes in different heart rate zones. You have GPS. You have a cardio fitness score. You have a smart track, which means it'll recognize when you're exercising and when you're not exercising. It's water resistant. You can see workouts directly on your phone. You can see a workout intensity map. This is probably where you can see different heart rate zones on a GPS score. So if you were running, let's say, and there was a certain part of your run that you ran really hard, there would be an interactive piece on the app that'll show you what part of your run did you run really hard. Got a timer and a stopwatch. Now, some health metrics that this one has. It's got an EKG for heart rhythm. It's got high and low heart rate notifications, blood oxygen levels, skin temperature, resting heart rate, breathing rate, irregular heart rhythms, notifications, blood glucose tracking. This is in the app only. It's not on the watch. That if you tracked your blood glucose, you could enter it into the app. It's not that the app is measuring it or the watch is measuring it for you. Menstrual health tracking and health and wellness reminders. As far as sleep goes, you have a stress management score, an EDA scan app for stress management. You have a sleep score, sleep profile, sleep tracking with sleep stages, and a smart wake alarm. Now, some other things that are kind of nice for this is you have a do not disturb. You've got YouTube controls, music controls, maps on it. You have your Google Wallet on it. You can have call and text notifications. It's a touchscreen. You got Find Your iPhone. It's got a 7-day battery life. That's a really good one. And then you've got a bunch of different faces and accessories for it. And there is a premium membership if you would like it. So this Fitbit is actually got a ton of features and awesome specs. It is also one of the cheapest wearables out there as well, at right around $160 per unit, which is a great one. The next one that I want to talk about is this placed second for the best overall, and it's the Garmin Vivo Move watch. The big thing about the Vivo Move is the amount of tracking that happens on this watch with the sleekness of a watch design is really, really good. So let's pull up some of the Vivo Move's notifications. So some smart features, very fashion forward. If you see this Vivo Move watch, it looks very sleek. It looks like a watch. You don't understand that there's a lot of other things that are available. The can get up to 5 days of battery life. You can read text messages and notifications. You have your health tracking as well, which we'll go over, and then you can pay with your watch as well. Let's see some things. So you've got pay on the go, you've got smart notifications, you have a calendar view, you've got a chronograph, timer, and stopwatch. And then you have the Garmin Connect app. The Garmin Connect app is going to be a really good feature for any of those Garmin devices. And let's look at some health and wellness stuff. So you've got a battery for energy monitoring. You have stress tracking on this. You have wrist-based heart rate. You have hydration tracking. You have sleep monitoring and sleep score. You have a women's health tracking as well. And then some mindful breathing on here as well. Some other things that are maybe like features, but not necessarily for health related. You've got a GPS on here to help you maybe with directions when it's connected to your phone. You have your fitness age. You have intensity minutes. You have preloaded sports. There's a bunch of different sports that are preloaded into the app as well. Fitness tracking. It'll track your everyday activities that's not sports as well. And then you've got safety and tracking features. These are things that, you could potentially send an alert to somebody if you were in a bad situation. So that's kind of a small but pretty cool little feature. And this is the Garmin Vivo Move. And this one runs a little bit more expensive than the Fitbit. These run for about $270 to $300. Both of these don't have paid subscriptions. So once you buy the wearable, that's all you paid for. Fitbit has a premium subscription that you can subscribe to, but it's not required. Let's move on. Best if you have an iPhone. So the Apple Watch is one that, hey, if you're already using Apple devices, an Apple Watch might be an easy one to use. So let's look at some of the Apple Watch things or features. You've got the S9 chip. So not only is there like health tracking, but there's a lot of other apps and capability of the Apple Watch when it comes to connectivity with your computer, when it comes to connectivity with your iPhone, especially if those are Apple devices. You have a heart sensor, you have a temperature sensor, you've got a compass, altimeter, a accelerometer, a gyroscope, and an ambient light sensor. And then health and wellness, you've got an EKG, you have cycle tracking, that's women's health. You've got a heart rate, high and low heart rate notifications, irregular notifications. You've got a medications app, a mindfulness app, a noise app, and a sleeping app, including the sleep stages, the workouts and activities. There is a number of different workouts and activities. It looks like there's about 20 or so activities that are listed on the Apple Watch, including some things like running, hiking, cycling, swimming, elliptical, rower, stair stepper, dancing, kickboxing, multi-sport, tai chi, just a bunch of different things that you could record. They'll give, different data depending on the activity that you choose. Like, let's say something like swimming. You have a pool swim option and open water swim. You can get splits for your lap pool swimming. And then you can detect which strokes that you're taking. So there's unique data for each of those sports. One of the things that I might not like with the Apple Watch, you got an SOS as well. It's water resistant, is the battery life. An all-day battery life, you have up to 18 hours of normal use and in 36 hours in rechargeable mode. That means this is the first one that we've talked about, that basically you have to take it off every single day. Now, it does claim to have an 80% charge in about 45 minutes. So you could charge this up for an hour and then continue to wear it throughout the night and then charge it for another hour in the morning. But the bummer about this is you are taking this off almost daily in order to get it charged. Where the other ones, you were not charging it for 5 days to 7 days at a time. So almost a week before you have to charge, which can make a difference for you. The next one is some budget trackers. I'm not going to give the specifics on a couple of these, but we've got the Fitbit Inspire 3. This one's super cheap. It's under $100. It's got a lot of the similar features to the other Fitbits. Then you've got Android users. There's a Samsung Galaxy Watch 6. This is similar to an iPhone. If you've got an iPhone, if you've got a Samsung Galaxy, there's a watch that'll sync with a lot of your features on the Samsung phone. I'm not going to talk about that one, but that one's right about $300 to $400. Then there's also if you've got a Google phone, there's also the Google Pixel watch. That starts right around that $300 as well. And the Google Watch integrates a lot of features with the Fitbit app as well. So if you have the Fitbit app or you like the Fitbit app, but you have a Google phone, the Google Pixel Watch might be a good option for you. Then we have a running watch, was the Garmin Forerunner. But the next watch that I'm going to talk about with you is the Phoenix Pro, the best outdoor watch. It's the Phoenix Pro and the Phoenix 7 Pro. Now, these are a little bit more expensive. The Phoenix Pro 7 is, I believe, about $700. And now this is rated as the best outdoor watch. And what does that mean? It's not just your like typical health and fitness. This is made for somebody that has a lot more activities than just maybe being in the gym, trying to track some sleep and some health. They would like more specific or more comprehensive information. So all of the Garmin products connect with the Garmin Connect app. And you've got wrist-based heart rate and pulse oximeter. You've got battery life, which is incredible. The battery life on this is up to 18 days between charges. Now, if you have this solar one, that'll be extended even more. Run and ride, it's what we do, tracking all of your stats, navigation sensors to help you find your way back, text notifications and phone notifications, and you can even control music from your wrist as well. So some basic features that are on all the other ones, also on this. So on battery life, you've got 18 days of battery life in smartwatch mode. Now, if you are using the GPS, now this watch has a GPS, which is a unique piece for the watch. It's not connected to your phone. It has a GPS built in. You can get 57 hours in GPS mode and then 57 days in battery saver mode, meaning if you're just going to be wearing this as a watch, you could be wearing it for almost 2 months. The designs, there's a couple of different design cases. It's got touchscreen and buttons, which is always a great feature. I like the tactileness of buttons, but it's always good to be able to touch the screen as well. Built-in sports apps. Here's some of the stuff that it's got. The number of apps or activities that the Garmin Connect app has is outrageous. There is so many different opportunities to measure a bunch of different statistics, extremely detailed. You've got backcountry skiing and snowboarding as well. So you can distinguish like metrics, a ton of different metrics on all these things. You've got ski dynamics, you've got surf ready features, mountain biking dynamics, high intensity workouts. You've got a suggested workout on here as well. You've got a visual race predictor based on like running history and your overall fitness level. You've got a Pace Pro technology to help you keep you on pace for running. You have Climb Pro features, which tell you how much you've been climbing, including, so like for bike riding, cycling, or running, what's your grade that you're currently climbing? How much have you done? What's the grade of it? Grade adjusted pace. You've got performance metrics, real-time stamina, recovery advisor, race widgets, wrist-based running power, like power output levels, running dynamics, HRV status, training readiness, endurance score, hill scores, multi-sport, and auto transition from one sport to the next sport. So if you're looking at something like this, like it's mind-blowing. Then we haven't even talked about the outdoors or off-beaten path. The GPS features are insane as well. So as you can see, these are absolutely head and shoulders above any of the other ones so far as far as different activities go, which I love. That's super awesome. What are some health reports as well? So you have a morning report, you have a jet lag advisor, you have your wrist-based heart rate, you have a pulse oximeter sensor, you have a sleep coach, a nap detection, you have your body battery, you have your respiration tracking, and you can do a health snapshot, which is a 2-minute session, kind of see where you're at for your body, and hydration tracking. The amount of features that are available on the Fenix 7 are insane. So if you're looking for something that is absolutely all inclusive, the Garmin Fenix is way more than just a health and fitness tracking app. It's got a bunch of other features that are also for sports, that are also for connectivity, that are also for apps that you can use in collaboration with your phone as well. There is a lot of data. The hard part about the Garmin is, although there is a lot of data and there is some recommendations, there's not a lot of interpretation for the data. So you have to learn and understand how to interpret the data in order for all of this to be useful for you. Because if you're not interpreting the data, or you're just seeing it and you don't know how to interpret it, it's going to be like a lot of information. You're not going to know what to do with it. So that is the Fenix 7 Pro. The last two that I'm going to talk about are not watches. And the upside to these next two is there is a lot more interpretation to the data and guidance based on the data. The first one's going to be the Oura Ring. The Oura Ring starts at $349. This one also has a monthly membership included to it. So the Oura Ring, let's see, what are some of the things that the Oura Ring does? The Oura Ring actually goes on a finger. So you'll wear it on a finger, collecting 20 different biometrics that impact well-being day and night. So waking up, you've got your readiness and sleep scores in the app. You have your daily movements. You can share your scores and achievements inside the app with different teams. You can see your heart rate and a bunch of different metrics as well. You can have stress throughout the day, and there's a stress coach involved in it with the app that'll connect to your phone. You have wind down and sleep data. Hey, how are you going to be winding down? What are some suggestions that the app has for you? So the really cool thing about the Oura Ring is that it's membership based, but there's a lot more interpretation and coaching that's happening through that app. There's suggestions that are happening. Hey, you should be doing this. This should be happening. This is what you should be doing. Try this, try that. So it's a really cool thing. So $349 for the ring, and then a monthly subscription as well. The final one that I want to talk about is the Whoop. The Whoop is one of, outside of the Fitbit, it is one of the first wearables as well. The bummer about the Whoop and the Oura Ring is they are not watches, so that you will not be able to see time on this. The really cool thing about the Whoop is it is a monthly subscription. You are tracking a couple of different things. You are going to look at, let's see here, you're going to look at sleep. You're going to look at sleep scores, your hours of sleep, your hours needed. You're going to look at sleep quality and quantity. You're going to look at strain or your exercise on a daily basis, understanding the impact of what you're doing on your total score. You're going to look at recovery as well. And then you're going to look at habits as well. Connect the dots from habits to performance. You'll do a daily journal. Now with these, and then you'll have a stress manager as well. With these, the Whoop is going to basically be a coach for you. So the data is extremely comprehensive here, and it's giving you suggestions on things that you should be doing on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And then it's mapping out those trends and telling you, hey, what is helping you the most? What's not helping you the most? How do we get the most out of your strain, out of your recovery, out of your sleep? And it gets very, very detailed. The other really, really great thing about the Whoop is they are always improving their suggestions and their data by doing in-lab testing and figuring out, hey, if I'm seeing metrics like this, how am I improving them the most? The last really cool thing about the Whoop is you don't ever have to take the Whoop off. It is the only one so far that I have talked about that has a battery charger that you slide on and slide off. So you will never have to remove the Whoop, which is a pretty amazing feature for somebody who has to take off the wearable at some point to charge and recharge it. Something like a Whoop never has to be removed for you. Those are a bunch of different pieces that we talked about. Let's do a quick recap. We have the Fitbit, we have the Garmin Vivo Move, we've got an Apple Watch, we have a Garmin Fenix 7, we have an Oura Ring, and we have the Whoop. Now, should you be using a fitness tracker or not? Here's the reality. If you are someone who thinks that health and fitness is something that's important to them, absolutely, one of these devices you should have no matter what. It gives you some very, if anything, these can all give you some very basic data on how you're doing on a weekly or monthly basis as far as your health and wellness goes. Even if you're not going to use all of the features, having features like heart rate tracking, sleep scores, and stress management are huge for you. They're huge tools for you to be able to look at and see, hey, what's going to be good for me this coming month, what worked and what didn't work for me. So now, which one's for which? The Fitbit, if you are into health and wellness, but you're not really interested in doing all sorts of outdoor sports and GPS and crazy things, I think the Fitbit or the Garmin Vivo Move are amazing options for you. If you don't care about taking off your wearable every single day, I think an Apple Watch is a great move for you, especially if you have an iPhone. If you are somebody who wants to track a lot more data and you maybe do a lot more than just going to the gym and going home, you're a lot more involved in sports or backpacking or hiking or outdoors, then the Phoenix 7 is going to be great for you. And then if you're somebody who wants to get feedback from the data and coaching from the data, then I think the Aura Ring and the Whoop are your best options. Thanks for listening. We love having you listen to the Movement for Life podcast. If you've got anything that you want us to talk about on a weekly basis, we're more than happy to take suggestions from you. Please give us a rate if you liked this. Leave us a comment below. As always, if you are a member at Oxnard Movement, you have access to the members only page where we make a bunch of free content and give it away for you. If you don't know the access code to that, get in touch with me. I will give you the access code. Until next Thursday, have a great week.